Wow. I mean, how'd they do this?
You don't see that coming with 29 million recalls, did you? That
no,
is
I
not
didn't.
what I expected either.
Except it got people into the dealership?
Well, and that is one of the funny things. These are mostly older cars, except for now we're getting stuff like the Cadillac CTS, which is obviously not an older car, and which is one of GM's halo brands. But those people who have the old sort of econo boxes that they want to get rid of are now brought in, and they're looking at the new line of GM, which are mostly great products. And that's one of the things that hasn't really been talked about is that these are
so
really
they've got the products,
cars.
and people are anxious to do an upgrade here, Travis?
It's kind of like cash for clunkers almost, isn't it? In that they're bringing in their old cars that are kind of decrepit,
but they're
and now
supposed
they're
to
getting
just
something
get
brand
it fixed.
new. Well, why not just upgrade while you're there? It's like a cell phone contract. It's like
I don't know, but here's why I don't think it's as intuitive as that, because you go in, you've got a problem with your current vehicle. Why would you get a new one when GM is,
but the thing
at fault for this?
A lot of these weren't real problems. These are problems you were never going to encounter. They were not problems. You haven't had a problem necessarily with your car. These are problems that they are anticipating could be a problem, but probably never would be.
29 million recalls.
That's a lot of cars.
That's a lot of cars. That's a lot of cars.
Although it's a better batting average than you'd have if you were in the major league.
I thought you were going to say
no.
something about soccer again.
No,
okay,
no. But the other side is, you've got them in the showroom for the recall. And you've got cheap financing, as cheap as it's going to get. You're the first point of contact for a potential new car buyer. And so to some degree, are you capturing them that way?
And kind of ironic.
These are not Ford Pintos. This is not cars exploding. A lot of these are fairly obscure problems. These, if you haven't had it break down in your driveway, then it doesn't feel like a tangible problem.
But you feel like you have to get into the dealership. You've got to do that. And then, you start looking around and there you have it.
Well, I do think it's, the problem is as new models get pulled in, then you're going to have a big problem. You look at something like the Cobalt, but now they've done the stop sale on something like the Cruise. Yeah. That's a very different scenario.
How do you think it is that analysts got this one so wrong, Travis?
Honestly, it's boggling my mind, too, because I did not see GM having such an increase at all. I expected the same amount of loss that the analysts saw. So I think it goes to show that the new product is good, and that the recalls might not matter to the consumer as much as we think they do, or they're not paying attention.
All right, so yesterday, GM did unveil its plan to compensate victims in accidents related to these faulty ignition switches, and while eligible claims will be paid within 90 to 180 days, it's still pretty unclear how many total claims could and will be paid out. Well, we spoke with Ken Feinberg, the attorney that was hired by GM to oversee payments to the victims. He gave us some insight into what's going to happen. Listen to this.
Have no idea. It would be pure speculation. Number of deaths, pure speculation. Number of physical injuries caused by the ignition switch, pure speculation, until people file a claim. And we evaluate the claim. Was it an ignition switch defect in a car where it could have been? We can't make that speculative effort, so we'll have to wait and see.
Okay, so some insight, but a little bit of a wait and see. Hard to peg just exactly what these penalties are going to, or these payouts are going to look like. But any guesstimates from you, Jason?
I don't. Here's the odd thing about this is that, mostly it's not the cars that cause accidents; it's people. And the weird thing is, this is one of these cars that had a defect, but there was an accident. It's very hard to peg that to that particular instance because, we're all on the roads, and it's not cars exploding, it's people texting, running into people.
Yeah. But they're going to pay out for that, too. They're going to pay out for anything. Alcohol-related crashes, texting crashes, no seatbelt. They're going to minimize the amount of outside litigation that could come from this. It's crazy. And I heard something like at least $1 million.
$1 million per death.
Yeah.
And they're saying that there was at least 13 deaths caused as a result of this. But many more? I mean, how...
And don't you think they'll be a little preemptive? I think to not have this draw out longer, they will probably pay people that they probably wouldn't normally have paid. Right?
Oh, for sure.
Well, definitionally, if you're looking at settling it 90 to 180 days, there's no time for real investigations.
Right. Just get it out there, get done, move on from this news cycle. I think that's what they need to do.
Yeah, well, they're doing okay, at least for sale.